Many retirees assume slow travel must be more expensive simply because it lasts longer. More days away must mean more money. But that is not always how travel costs work in real life. Some of the most expensive travel people do is not the longest travel. It is the rushed travel, peak dates, short hotel stays and frequent transfers, restaurant meals for convenience, and constant while we're here spending. At the same time, some travelers assume slow travel is automatically cheaper. Then they discover they chose expensive destinations and moved too often, or stretched a vacation mindset across a longer calendar. So the real question is not whether slow travel or short trips are always cheaper. The real question is which one costs less for the way you actually travel. In this video, we are going to compare both models the practical way. We will look at where the money really goes, which costs shrink when you stay longer, and which costs can quietly grow, and why two retirees can spend the same number of travel days in a year and still spend very different amounts. If you want retirement travel to feel more doable and more intentional and less financially fuzzy, subscribe to Travel Choir. This channel is about helping North American retirees and beyond travel with more freedom and less friction, and with fewer expensive surprises on every trip. The first mistake in almost every travel cost debate is comparing days without comparing structure. A 10-day trip and a 30-day trip are not simply the same experience in different lengths. They are usually two different systems. A short trip is often built like a sprint. You are trying to fit the destination into a tight window, so exact dates matter more. That can make flights more expensive. You usually book hotels or short-stay rentals because they are easy and familiar. You eat out more because setting up a kitchen does not feel worth it. You pay for speed, convenience, and efficiency because time feels scarce. You may also spend more emotionally because the trip feels special and temporary. That "we're only here once" mindset can quietly push a budget upward. Slow travel works differently. Instead of trying to maximize activity in a compressed time frame, you spread the trip across a longer period. That can reduce nightly accommodation costs and cut the number of transport days. It can lower the pressure to eat out constantly and give you time to make better decisions after arrival. Staying away longer while still moving like a vacation sprinter does not create savings. That is why this comparison is so easy to get wrong. The cheaper option is often not the one that sounds cheaper in theory. It is the one that fits your real habits. One major reason slow travel often looks cheaper is that many travel costs are front-loaded. Flights are the clearest example of that. If a North American couple spends a large amount to get to Europe, that airfare does not multiply because they stay longer. The same flight cost gets spread across more days, so the daily average falls. The same thing happens with many other setup costs. Airport transfers, first-night accommodation premiums, arrival day meals, eSIM activation, baggage fees, and pre-trip purchases, and even some insurance-related admin costs all tend to hit near the beginning of a trip. On a short trip, those costs are squeezed into fewer days, which makes the per-day math look worse. On a longer trip, those same expenses get diluted. This is also why several short trips can be surprisingly expensive. A retiree who takes 3 separate one-week trips in a year may end up paying 3 rounds of airfare, 3 airport transfer chains, 3 arrival day adjustment periods, and 3 sets of last-minute but necessary purchases. Another retiree who takes one longer trip may travel for a similar total number of days, but only pay the startup cost once. This does not mean slow travel is always cheap. It means it is often more efficient. And for retirees trying to stretch travel across more months or more years, that distinction matters. Accommodation is where the numbers can shift dramatically. Short trips usually push travelers into hotel logic. Hotels are easy for 4 or 5 nights. They are familiar, flexible, and simple. But they also tend to have high nightly costs, especially in tourist centers or during popular travel periods. Slow travel often unlocks a different pricing structure. Weekly and monthly stays are commonly priced much better than nightly stays. A rental that looks expensive for 5 nights may become far more reasonable over 3 or 4 weeks. You may also get access to a kitchen, laundry, and more living space, and a neighborhood better suited to normal life rather than tourist convenience. That can lower other costs too. But this is where many people overestimate the savings. Slow travel is not automatically cheap just because it is longer. If you stay in peak season Paris, central Rome, or a high-demand part of Lisbon for a month, housing can still be expensive. If you keep moving every week, you miss many of the discounts that make slow travel attractive. If you choose destinations built around premium short-stay demand, the math may not improve as much as you expected. So the real accommodation lesson is this. Slow travel gives you access to better pricing structures, but only if you use them well. The savings depend on destination, season, neighborhood, and especially how long you stay in one place. Food, local transport, and daily behavior often matter just as much as flights and housing. Short trips usually come with vacation habits. You go out for breakfast because it is easy. You grab coffee on the move. You take taxis because the day is packed. You pay extra for location, convenience, and speed because time feels limited. You also spend faster because you do not have enough time to learn the cheaper rhythm of a place. Slow travel gives you the chance to normalize. You can find the grocery store, cook some meals, learn the transit system, and avoid constant convenience spending. You can also slow down physically. A tired traveler spends badly. They buy shortcuts, comfort, and last-minute solutions. That is understandable, but it adds up. At the same time, slow travel can create a different kind of leak. When the trip feels open-ended, spending can become vague. More cafe stops, more browsing days, more casual shopping, more we can always make it special tonight decisions. Some retirees save money on movement and accommodation, then quietly lose those gains through loose daily habits. That is why slow travel works best when it has a light system around it. A rough daily target, a weekly spending check-in, and some awareness around dining, local transport, and extras can prevent a long trip from becoming financially blurry. And if you are comparing different travel styles before booking, it helps to use good planning tools early. The practical travel services in the description can help with things like coverage, connectivity, and transfers, which reduce rushed decisions later. Both travel styles have hidden costs. They are just hidden in different places. Short trips hide costs in intensity. You try to see more, do more, and fit more into fewer days. That often means more tickets, more transit, more dining out, more fatigue, and more spending tied to urgency. You may cover a lot of ground, but you often pay for that pace. Slow travel hides costs in duration and discipline. A longer trip may mean more laundry, more incidental purchases, and a longer insurance period, more exposure to exchange rate changes, and more small recurring costs that build over time. If you still have expenses at home, such as subscriptions, home upkeep, or pet care, a longer trip can also make those ongoing obligations more visible. Another major hidden cost is transition. Every move costs something. Even when the ticket is cheap, the transition still takes energy, time, and money. Packing, checkout timing, station or airport transfers, luggage handling, and arrival confusion, and the need to reorient yourself all come with a price. Slow travel reduces those repeated reset costs when you genuinely stay put. Short trips and fast multi-stop itineraries increase them. That is why retirees should ask a better question than, how much does a month abroad cost? A better question is, how many resets am I paying for? The more often you reset, the more expensive travel often becomes. It is easy to praise slow travel so much that short trips start sounding financially foolish. But that would be a mistake. They can work well when the destination is close, airfare is reasonable, and the trip is scheduled in the shoulder season. They can work well when you use points strategically, or when you want to protect your energy and comfort. For some retirees, being away for a full month is simply not ideal, even if the daily math looks better. They may have family obligations, routines they value, or a lower appetite for the logistics of an extended stay. Short trips can also be emotionally efficient. A cheaper daily average is not automatically the better deal if the longer trip creates stress or homesickness Cost is not only about daily averages. It is also about total cash outlay, peace of mind, and whether the trip fits your life. For many retirees, the smartest model is actually a hybrid one. Fewer trips, but each one longer than a standard vacation and shorter than a full slow travel stay. Think 2 to 3 weeks, one main base, minimal internal movement, and accommodation chosen for value and kitchen access. That often captures some of the fixed cost efficiency of slow travel without requiring a long absence from home. The best way to choose is not ideological, it is diagnostic. Look at your past trips and ask where the money really went. Did flights and hotels dominate the budget? Or homesickness? Cost is not only about daily averages. Did you save money by staying longer, or did longer stays simply give you more time to spend casually? If your biggest costs came from airfare, short hotel stays, frequent restaurant meals, and repeated internal transport, then slow travel may reduce costs by redesigning the structure. If your biggest costs came from being in expensive destinations too long, or from drifting into casual daily spending, or losing discipline over time, then better designed short trips may serve you better. A smart way to test this is to compare both models on the same destination before you book. Price one version as a fast 10-day trip and another as a slower 3 or 4 week stay. Use realistic housing, realistic transit, groceries, insurance, and arrival costs. Then compare total cost, cost per day, number of moves, and likely stress level. That gives you a far more useful answer than generic advice. And if you want a calmer way to compare the two, the planning resources in the description can help you think through the numbers before you commit. Sometimes the cheapest trip is simply the one you planned with the clearest assumptions. So which one actually costs less? Slow travel or short trips? In many cases, slow travel wins on a per-day basis because it spreads fixed costs, unlocks better accommodation pricing, reduces transition frequency, and gives you time to live more normally. But that does not mean it is always the cheaper decision overall. A longer trip can still cost more in total, and it can become inefficient if you stay in expensive places, move too often, or let everyday spending drift. Short trips are not automatically bad math. They can be the smarter choice when they fit your energy, your obligations, and your comfort level, and the way you actually enjoy travel. The goal is not to prove one model superior. The goal is to choose the one that gives you the most freedom for the money you are genuinely comfortable spending. If you want more practical retirement travel thinking like this, subscribe to Travel Choir. And before you book your next trip, compare both models honestly. You may find that the answer is not slow travel or short trips, but a travel style that borrows the best parts of both.